Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my absolute favorite Chanel beauty products. This is going to be a top 10 list. It's been a while since I've gone over my Chanel beauty favorites, and I wanted to discuss that today because I want to go over a few specific brands and talk about my absolute favorite products from that brand. And I love Chanel in particular because they're just a really awesome brand, a luxury beauty brand that really focuses on enhancing your natural beauty. So a lot of the times the products that they release are just going to be really beauty enhancing products. They're just going to emphasize your natural beauty like I stated, and they're not going to be overwhelmingly like super pigmented products, or they're not going to be super high coverage. I really like that they just let your natural beauty shine. So I wanted to do a focal video on Chanel beauty today, and I wanted to keep it narrowed down to a top 10 list just because I know it can be overwhelming if you mention too many products. So this is just going to really narrow down my absolute favorite beauty products from Chanel. Let's get started with the skin. So I'm going to start by mentioning this is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint. I'm not going to use this on my complexion today, or I guess I could, but I wanted to talk about two different foundation products. So the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint is not technically a foundation. I would classify it more as a skin tint. And I just love this product. Like, this is probably the foundation I've gone through the most. I've gone through at least 5 bottles of this. And sometimes I will switch up what color I'm in. The color that I'm using right now is medium plus. Medium probably works a little bit better for me, so I'll purchase a medium after I'm finished this one. But I really love this product because this is just a really unique product because it is a water-based product. It starts off, it's like a gel. It's basically a gel-based product. It's very watery, it's very liquidy. It feels ultra hydrating because it is so water-based. And it just gives you a veil of perfecting, a veil of, I'm going to say a veil of like a filtered effect. It gives you just this blur to your skin without it being heavy coverage, without it being, it's not going to like disguise any blemishes or a lot of pigmentation. It's just going to filter your skin slightly. It's going to give you a light veil of coverage. It's going to add just a slight hint of coverage. It's going to add a little bit of color to your skin. So for me, my neck is way darker than my body. Sorry, my neck is way darker than my face because I self-tan. So I like to use this just if I'm going to the gym or running errands. This is the only product I'll apply. I'll just put it all over my face just so my face does match my neck. And I just love it because it literally looks like skin. If you are looking for something that is undetectable on the skin, this is the product for you. And I like this because even though this is a water-based product, once it is applied to the skin, it doesn't remain looking dewy on the skin. It does have a bit of a dry down to it, so it's not going to be like sticky or remain looking too glowy on the skin. It really is great in humidity as well. When I went to Hawaii, this is the foundation I brought, and I am going traveling. Like, I'm going back to Hawaii in February with my boyfriend, and I'm going to be taking this foundation as well because I just love how it looks on the skin, and I feel like it's a really great humid weather product because it just has great longevity in the humidity, and it's so lightweight that if it does fade away, it's not going to fade away awkwardly. It's going to fade away beautifully on the skin. And my absolute favorite foundation from Chanel, and now I'm going to start applying product, is this Chanel Sublimage L'Essence de Teint. I do own it in the shade B30 and B40, and honestly mixing them together is my perfect match. But if I were just to buy one foundation, it would be the B30. And I can't find my B30 anywhere, so I'm just going to go in with the B40 today. And I'm just going to take one pump of product on the palm of my hand. So once I've applied that to the palm of my hand, I like to just take my Refer brush. So this is a Refer B04, but I know that they just did release a bunch of new brushes, and they changed the name of this. It's the exact same brush, except they changed the color of the bristles, I believe. So I'm going to leave the name down below. I think it's an LC03, I believe is the name of it. And this is the best foundation brush, but we're not talking about brushes today. I'm going to talk about this foundation. So this Chanel Sublimage L'Essence de Teint is my absolute favorite Chanel foundation because of how it looks, and not only how it looks on the skin, but how it performs on the skin. So this is going to give me a really beautiful, light, buildable, I would say to a medium coverage. You're not going to be able to build it past a medium coverage, and I don't really think it's meant to be built up that much. This is a foundation that, like I stated at the beginning, is just going to emphasize your natural beauty. It's going to enhance your natural features, your natural beauty. It's not going to completely cover everything up. It's going to remain looking a lot like skin. It is virtually undetectable on the skin if you use a small amount of product. Like I said, if you do build it up on the skin, obviously then you're going to see a little bit more texture to the skin. But this is a really beautiful perfecting foundation in the way where it's not completely perfecting the skin by adding a ton of coverage, but it has this gorgeous blurring effect to it. And for a foundation that offers a little bit more luminosity, a lot of the times those types of foundations don't really give you a great blurring effect because they're a little bit more luminous or satin on the skin. But this has the advantage where it's really going to honestly blur texture on the skin. If you're someone that has textured skin or mature skin, I feel like you are going to love this. This is my mom's favorite foundation, and my mom is 66. And yes, I'm going to have my mom back on the channel. I'm hoping that she can do it either this weekend or next weekend. And we're going to go over all her favorites. But my mom loves this foundation. It's something that I just have recommended to so many people, and they all seem to really love it. A lot of you guys like it to be more zoomed in, so I tried to zoom in a little bit more. But another one of my favorite things about this is even though this has more of a satin, I would say it's a more of a satin natural finish. It's not overly glowy. It's not overly dewy. I think if you have oily skin, if you just go in with a mattifying primer and then you make sure to set your skin, this is going to work well for you. But one of my favorite things is how long wearing this is for something that's more light coverage and that's more on the satin side. Like I said, more satin to natural finish. The longevity of this is so incredibly impressive. I think a lot of the times we associate longevity with more matte foundations, but this literally lasts on my skin all day long, all night long, and I never have to touch up. It never gets, like, sometimes you'll just notice it fades away around the nose or something like that, but this is just the most impressive long-wearing foundation. It is one of Chanel's most pricey foundations, but because of how it wears and how it looks on the skin, and I want my skin to look beautiful in person, not just on camera, like in person. I want people to look at my skin and compliment my skin versus complimenting my makeup. And this is what this foundation will do for you. I love it. I can't say enough good things about that. Another one of my absolute favorite products from Chanel is their Sublimage. This is their Sublimage Le Correcteur Yeux. So it is their radiance generating concealing eye care. Basically, it's like a hybrid between skincare and makeup, which is exactly the same as the Sublimage L'Essence de Teint. This is like their skincare slash makeup hybrid line, the Sublimage line. So the concealer is very, very similar in that sense. And I do love this concealer. I will say that I have had people say that it's a little bit too drying from them. And I do want to note that prep is really important with this product. I don't think you need to overly prep, but if you apply a little bit of eye cream and then wait 20 minutes, I find that it gives me enough hydration. So I'm just going to take this Clé de Peau concealer brush, and I'm going to apply a little bit of this concealer under the eyes. So just a little bit where I'm darkest. I chose the shade B40, or it's the shade 40. 30 would be a better one for me. I don't know why I chose 40, but apparently I was just feeling tan that day. But 30 would be a better match for me, and I'm going to pick that up once I go through this one. I've actually completely gone through this concealer, but I had the shade 20 before, and I loved it that much that I repurchased, even though this is such an expensive concealer. But again, for me, it's worth it because when you're just next to people in person, I want my concealer to look really skin-like. I want it to look really beautiful, so I don't mind spending the money on complexion products especially. I'm going to take this BK Beauty N16 brush and blend that in. And I really like this concealer because you only need the tiniest bit of product. A little bit goes a really long way. And this is going to give me a really beautiful, I would say it's like a medium coverage. It is, again, a buildable concealer, but it's not going to give you a full coverage. But I really like that it's that hybrid between skincare and makeup because my under eyes are probably the driest area on my face, and this adds enough hydration that it doesn't leave my under eyes feeling dry or crepey throughout the day, or I don't get this creasing in my fine lines. It doesn't crease throughout the day. Once it is on the under eyes, it remains consistent and remains looking this beautiful. Like I said, it doesn't crease throughout the day. It doesn't settle. It doesn't fade away awkwardly. It doesn't get more dry looking throughout the day, which I really appreciate in a concealer, and I think it is because it has a little bit of skincare in it, and I just love the way it looks. It has a little bit of radiance to it without it being shimmery. I do not like shimmery products. If you don't know, I don't like when you can detect like that intermittent shimmer on the skin, so I really like that there's no shimmer particles, but it does have a little bit of light reflection. But what that light reflection really does is it blurs that under eye area and everything just looks really soft. And I just love this on the under eyes. It is so, so good. So I'd say Chanel falls flat a little bit on the bronzers. I know they have their Soleil Tan de Chanel. That's not the name of it now. That's it. They've changed the name of it, but the Soleil Tan de Chanel used to be the best cream bronzer, and then they reformulated it, and I have to say I did not love the reformulation. I don't think it is as good. And then they released a version last summer, and it basically was the Soleil Tan de Chanel. It really reminded me of that formula. It was more blurring. It was so gorgeous. So unfortunately, I don't love that cream bronzer. Like, it's good, but it's not a favorite in my collection. But thankfully, they did come out with these permanent, and I did make sure this is permanent. This is the Le Beige Healthy Glow Sunkissed Powder. I picked mine up in light coral. I just like the color story of this the most, and this palette has really proven to be something that I've utilized so much. Again, I'm going to Hawaii in February, and I'm going to be taking this palette along with so many other, actually maybe I'll do a pack with me video so you can see what I'm packing. But this is just such a travel-friendly option. I have to say the blush is not my absolute favorite, but I didn't like any of the blushes. I liked this blush the most out of all the palettes they released, but this coral shade just has a little bit more sheen than I typically like in a blush formula, and it's just not a shade that I gravitate towards on an everyday basis. However, I absolutely do love the bronzer and the highlighter in this palette. I just use this so, so often, and this bronzer is perfect. I really like the texture of this. This is more of a powdery bronzer formula, so I don't think it swatches the best because of that, but there's that beautiful bronzer. I really like this because it is, I would say, more of a neutral tone bronzer. It does lean a little bit warm, but it doesn't have like those orangey tones. It's just a beautiful warm tan versus leaning too red. I don't like a red tone bronzer on me or leaning too gray or cool toned. I feel like it's the perfect warm. And then this beautiful highlighter is one of my favorite highlighters. And I really enjoy this highlighter formula because it's not a typical highlighter like, say, for example, this Gucci highlighter, which has a little bit of that intermittent shimmer to it. This is a very consistent sheen on the skin. It's virtually just gonna add dimension to your skin versus a lot of glow, where it's going to add that shimmery stripe. This is just adding that beautiful dimension to your look. It's going to brighten the skin a bit and provide just a little hint of sheen. And it's just going to add a slight glow. It's going to give you that healthy skin-like glow versus actually a shimmery glow. So I really think this powder just excels. And I like how it blends on the skin because it doesn't look powdery on the skin, even though this is a more powdery formula. It is very soft, like I showed you. These are very buildable on the skin. They're not ultra pigmented, which I really like about this formula. So let's just apply it to the skin. I'm going to take this Refer 22 brush. It's a little bit harder to get right in to that bronzer specifically with this big brush, but you just do your best. And then I'm just going to get the excess off because, again, this is a more powdery formula. And then I'm just going to apply to the skin. And I really like this because this is, like I stated, a very buildable formula. You can really apply it sheerly on the skin and just get a slight glow, a slight tanned look, or you can build it up to get more pigmentation. But again, I like that more soft level of dimension to my skin. I don't want an ultra high contrast look. So I, again, chose this palette because it's not going to be a super high contrasted product against my skin. These tones are going to look very natural and just beauty enhancing on my skin tone. This bronzer just very subtle. It's just going to add a little bit of warmth, a little bit of that healthy glow. And I just love this powder because while it does have a slight glow, it's not that shimmery glow. And it just looks so gorgeous on the skin. Talking about blush, I really, really am happy that Chanel released these blushes because they have reformulated their powder blushes so often. And with each reformulation, I'm just not happy with it. So I'm really glad that they released these cream to powder blushes because this is the answer to a beautiful Chanel blush. And I'm so happy that I can actually talk about a Chanel blush that I really, really enjoy. And not only do I enjoy these blushes, they are one of my favorites in my collection because they're a really unique formula. They are, like they state, a cream to powder formula. So they start off with this really unique, it's almost like a bouncy texture. I'm trying to think. If you have like the Westman Atelier iPods, it's very similar to that like putty formula. It feels very similar to that. And even the Clé de Peau eyeshadow quad, they have a primer shade in that eyeshadow palette. It feels very similar. So it's a really cool powder because it's quite emollient for a powder. So I guess that's how I would describe it. It feels very emollient for a powder, and it just offers the most beautiful texture because you can apply it and you get that application of a cream, so it looks really skin-like, but it dries down to a more powdery finish. It doesn't look powdery on the skin. You still get that cream-like quality, so it really enhances your skin because it's truly like a sheer coverage for a cream, so it's not going to be totally opaque. You can really build this formula up, but you still get that beautiful skin texture showing through, so it really, really looks like skin. I really love this formula because if you want a cream blush that's going to actually last on your skin, a lot of cream formulas, they just fade away so quickly. This is a cream formula that you can count on that's going to look like a cream, but it's going to last like a powder. So you get that great kind of, I guess, the best of both worlds. I really like the shade Beige Eclatant if I'm going for a neutral, nude, maybe a warmer look. This pulls a little bit warm on me. And Rose Ardent is probably the one I use most often because, again, products tend to warm up a bit on my skin, and I'm wearing this blue shade, and I think this Rose Ardent is just going to be a little bit better on my complexion. This is a beautiful cool tone pink. I do wish they had a better shade range in this, though, because this is basically the only cool tone shade. So like I stated, you can really build these up on the cheeks, and they are not going to look powdery at all. They are not going to look makeup-y at all. They literally melt into your skin texture, and they just look like your skin is more beautiful. I love to use this Rephr 05 brush because it's going to be able to pick up this more creamy formula. I do think using a natural haired brush or something that's a little bit more dense is going to be your best option for these types of blushes. But truly, wow, it's just so pretty on the skin. It really does enhance your natural beauty. Okay, I feel really bad about this one because this is only available in Canada. Maybe, I don't know if the UK, I haven't checked that. This is not available in the US, but this is the Chanel Le Blanc Brightening Compact Foundation in the shade B30. This has a very minimal shade range, and this is truly the most beautiful powder ever. It's so gorgeous. It doesn't look powdery at all. It is so, so beautiful. I wear this as a foundation sometimes. So again, I'll link it for my Canadians, and I'm so sorry to my Americans. Hopefully you can find it because, wow, this is beautiful. If I had to compare it to any powder, the most similar would be this Chantecaille Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. They are very similar, although the Chantecaille one is baked, and this one is just like a typical powder formula, but it's not typical because it truly looks like skin. It is the most beautiful powder foundation, and I don't even know if I'd classify it as a powder foundation. The coverage level of these two is extremely similar. They both are matte on the skin. I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I'm going to use this to set my skin because I don't love any other powder from Chanel, unfortunately. This is my favorite. It's so, so good, so I really apologize. So alternatively, you could just use the Chantecaille, and I'll link both of them down below, but oh, wow, I just love this so, so much. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this and, again, get off that excess powder, and I'm just going to powder any areas where I want to blur the skin. This does, honestly, such a beautiful job of blurring the complexion. So I just apply it in any areas where I want to blur my complexion or just add a little bit of mattification. I don't want anything to get oily throughout the day, even though I don't think this foundation separates or anything. You don't need to set that. I just prefer to set my foundation just a little bit in the center of my skin. And I'm going to go in with my absolute favorite highlighter from Chanel. So obviously, you could just go in with this palette, but I really want to showcase this beautiful, this is the Baume Essentiel in the shade Sculpting from Chanel. And I used to hate these products when I was younger because I was all about that really intense glow when I was in my 20s. But now that I'm in my 30s, I am 34, I don't love an intense highlighter. I like something that's just going to look like skin. So this truly, if you want the appearance of a glow, and you want to add that dimension to your skin without the appearance of makeup. So this is not a makeup-y product at all. It truly looks so skin-like. This is the type of product you want. This is a Baume highlighter, but it's not just a Baume highlighter because I have tried all the versions of the Baume highlighters, like the Westman Atelier, Victoria Beckham, and this is the best version of it because you apply it to your skin and it doesn't disturb the makeup underneath. A lot of the other products, they will disturb the makeup underneath, and you'll just get like a patch of no makeup under where you've applied that highlighter, or throughout the day it will disturb the makeup and it will just make the makeup fade away a little bit quicker. So I really, really like this one because this adds that texture, that beautiful glossy finish, and it looks like your skin just has a very subtle glow versus it being an obnoxious shimmer. So I just love that. I'll even add a little bit to like the inner corners of my eyes. This is a game-changing product because, again, you can wear this even on no makeup days when you are just wearing like the Water Fresh tint and this product together. Absolutely beautiful. Just such great products. I think I'm just going to do the lips first and just get that out of the way because the lips are going to be really quick. The Chanel Rouge Coco Flash is my favorite lip product from Chanel. Look how much I have left. I definitely need to get more because this is truly all I have left of this product. So this is a lip gloss, lip balm hybrid, I want to say. And this is a really beautiful color because it's just like my lips, but better. It's like a beigey brown. It's more of a cool tone though. And it's a really just awesome texture because it's that lip gloss, lip balm, lipstick hybrid. It's a little bit more of a waxy. It has a little bit of waxiness to it, but it's not ultra waxy. It just hugs the lips. It adds a lot of comfort to the lips. It adds a little bit of plumpness to the lips. It's just so comfortable. It's one of those lip products where it adds that little bit of glossy effect, but it's not too shiny where it looks like you're drooling. I really, really love this product because it's just so comfortable. It's not going to be long lasting at all. You're going to need to touch up, but I just love this formula. This is something I'll keep in my handbag because you can literally, like, you don't need a mirror. You just throw it on your lips and it doesn't really matter. And then the Rouge Coco Gloss in the shade 804 Rose Naif is my favorite lip gloss from Chanel. I have a bunch of these shades, but the Rose Naif is my favorite. And I believe I picked it up because I heard Michelle Wong talking about it. And she was right. This color is absolutely gorgeous. So I just like to tap in all my lip products because I don't like lip products sitting on my lips. But this is just a beautiful formula because it's a little bit of a thicker gloss. And even though this color might look scary, it's just a clear gloss basically with like a hint of pink. And I just love this shade on my lips because it gives me a little bit of color without it being obnoxious. I love to wear this. Like when I go to the gym, this is the lip gloss I'll wear just by itself. And it's just so beautiful. It gives you, like I said, a hint of color and it has that thicker texture. It just hugs the lips and it adds this like coat of hydration. It fills in those lip lines. So if you're someone that has those visible lip lines, that texture on your lips, this fills it in. It hugs the lips, remains it feeling very comfortable for a long period of time. It's just beautiful. And then I want to talk about a new product. So I'm very, very excited for the eyes. I guess I should have used this on the cheeks too. That was a mistake on my part. So this is the new Chanel Jeux de Lumières, the multi-use eyeshadow and highlighter palette. This is made in Italy, so it is that beautiful baked formula that I love. I don't know why I put this back in, but I've been using this a lot, mostly on my eyes though. I do love it on the cheeks. I actually mix like these 3 shades together and I'll just apply that to the high points of my cheeks. Maybe, you know what, we'll just apply a little bit. So I literally like to go just back and forth in these shades. And then I will apply that as a highlighter. I'm going to be very careful because I already applied that Baume highlighter. But why I really like this is it isn't one of those highlighters. It's different than this one in this palette here because this offers more of a sheen. It does have that little bit of sheen to it, but it is not going to emphasize texture because it's a very soft sheen. It's one of those products that's a baked product that melts into your cheeks. So it just gives you that beautiful glossy glow without it looking like an obnoxious highlighter that you can see from space. These are a very sophisticated and elegant shimmer on the cheekbones, and on the eyes, they just look so ethereal and effervescent and so pretty. Wow, I just love this on the eyes especially. Like all these shades look truly beautiful. I find highlighters a little bit hard to swatch, but that beautiful pinky tone. Then we have that beautiful, gorgeous champagne gold. And then this is more of like a champagne pink. Leans a little bit more pink, but it's not as pink as this first shade. And then this beautiful, more warm tone is like a copper gold. It is so gorgeous on the eyes. I can't use this on my cheeks. It's way too dark for me. But I like this for a skin and eye palette because obviously these two shades, like the first shade and the last shade, are going to be beautiful on darker skin tones, and these two are going to complement more fair, medium skin tones. But you can use all of these shades on the eyes, and they are truly just beauty enhancing. They leave a very subtle glow, and especially on the eyes, they're so beautiful. So yes, this is a new release from Chanel, but again, it's that beautiful, sophisticated glow, and I really, really like that on the eyes. But I wanted to mention another product for the eyes because this is something that I don't think I've even talked about on my channel, but this is the Chanel Ombre Essentiel, the multi-use long-wearing eyeshadow. I picked mine up in the shade 248 Latte Frappé. This is a matte shade, and so Chanel released these permanent eyeshadows. I do have the champagne one, and I do like it, but I don't know. I don't use it all the time. I do like it for like an everyday look. I do think it's really beautiful. But I have to say this one, if you're going to pick this up, get it while you can. This is limited edition, but I love this tone for a single eyeshadow. Again, I'm bringing this to Hawaii. That's just such a beautiful matte brown shade. It's the perfect neutral, warm brown shade. It's perfect as a transition shade in the crease, so I love that. So I'm going to start off with a Rephr 01 brush, and I'm going to pick up this Latte, what is it called again? It is Latte Frappé, and I really like this because, again, it's that soft pigmentation, but it's very buildable, so you can build it up on the skin. And I'm just going to deposit that to the outer corner of the eye first. And then with any remaining product on the brush, I'm going to sweep this through the crease just because I want to add a little bit of dimension to the eye. These are all shimmery shades, obviously, so I do like to kind of ground down the look a little bit with a more matte shade. You could use a bronzer, but I really like this eyeshadow formula. Like I said, I do have the champagne shade, and while I really enjoy it, I don't use it all the time, but I do think the formula is really beautiful. It is creamy, it has dimension, but it's not super dimensional. It offers a very consistent shimmer, so it's a beautiful sheen that just looks really natural. If you're someone that doesn't like a lot of shimmer on the eyes, I feel like you will really like these multi-use eyeshadows because they aren't going to be overwhelming with shimmer. They're going to suit mature skin types. I want to say they're comparable to the Dior shadows, but the Dior shadows have a little bit more dimension, a little bit more of that sheen to it versus the Chanel ones. So if you're looking for something softer than those Dior ones, the Chanel ones are great. They're, again, really beauty enhancing. I'm going to go into this beautiful palette, and like I said, this has become an absolute favorite eye palette. I'm going to dip into this deepest gold shade, and I'm going to apply that to the outer corner of the eye here, just to add a little bit of that soft color there. And then with the excess, I'm just going to dust it kind of all over the eye, a little bit into the crease. Then I'm going to take this shade right here, this beautiful champagne gold, and I'm going to apply this all over the lid. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, truly. If you're looking for a gorgeous eyeshadow palette, make it this one. And again, I'm bringing this to Hawaii. I feel like, is that obnoxious? And I'm kind of worried it's going to break. So maybe I'll end up changing my mind. But my plan is to bring this to Hawaii because I just love how it looks on the eyes. Like I said, the shimmer, it's not overwhelming. It just really is beauty enhancing. It lets your natural beauty shine through. It's the most gorgeous, subtle shimmer. And I'm going on a date night tomorrow, and I am going to be wearing this, literally the same look. I'm recreating it because I just love how it looks. I'm also going to take a BK Beauty 204 brush, and I'm going to take that matte brown shade from Chanel, and I'm going to apply it underneath the lower lash line because I want a little bit of color under there too. It truly blends like a dream. Wow, so gorgeous. I'm actually going to add a little bit of this shade right here because I do want to use all of them. I'm going to add this to the inner corner of the eye just to brighten that inner tear duct a little bit, just to add a little bit of glow. Very subtle, just very beauty enhancing eye look. I absolutely love it. So I just went ahead and added some mascara. I used my Chantecaille Faux Longest Lash Mascara because unfortunately I don't love any of the Chanel mascaras, and I used my Hourglass Voyer waterproof gel liner in the shade Black, or it's Obsidian, to tightline just the upper waterline. And this is the finished absolute favorite Chanel makeup look. I love how it turned out. Like I said, I love Chanel products because they're very skin and beauty enhancing. So I feel like it just enhances your natural beauty in a really lovely way where it's not overwhelming. Your face isn't just covered in makeup. It's just a really nice natural beauty look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know your favorite Chanel products down below. I always love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.